The Sports Fix, the show that asks the question,
what you talking about, Lou? What you talking about, Lou? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about, Lou? What you talking about? What you talking about, Lou? What you talking about? What you talking about, Lou?
We'll be right back.
Guys, want to take just a second as we head into this break and remind you about the official business printing source of the Sports Fix, our friends at Signs and Ship. Signs and Ship, I'm telling you, Chris and Pam, they've taken care of me since day one, and they can do the same for you. Whether you're a small business that's already been established and you're looking to grow to that next level and expand your business, or perhaps you've got an idea that you just know is going to be a great business and you need to figure out how to brand it and how to promote it and put it out there, Signs and Ship is the place for you. If you need a logo, they can create one for you. They have a fantastic graphic designer. Business cards, signs, banners, yard signs, mobile advertising, anything you can think of that you need to promote your business, they've got it at Signs and Ship. The best thing about them, too, is each of their locations, whether it's the home base here in Elyria, Ohio that I work with, or their spots in Virginia, Florida, and Pennsylvania, it's all local sourced. Very important to me because we all understand that small business is the lifeblood of the community. So check them out, signsandship.com, or call Chris and Pam today, 440-323-6060, the home office in Elyria, Ohio. Signs and Ship, quality printing at affordable prices.
It's an addiction. The Sports Fix. We'll be right back.
In baseball, miracles can happen when a team works together.
2 out, bottom of the ninth, down to their last strike.
The same is true in the fight against cancer. That's why MLB has teamed up with Stand Up to Cancer. Because we believe that when we all stand up together,
41,000 on their feet,
we can make cancer history.
Now everybody's standing. What a buzz in this building.
This is beyond a dream. Stand up with MLB at standuptocancer.org.
The Sports Fix is on iHeartRadio. Download the free iHeart app today. Subscribe to the show and get your fix.
You love Cleveland, and you already know how much we love Cleveland. You know who else loves Cleveland? GV Art and Design. Everyday fans, you and I wear our pride on our sleeves. Now, you can wear your pride on your chest. GV Art and Design has one of the hottest Cleveland sporting lines. Log on right now to gvartwork.com. Check out all of their fantastic designs.
And don't forget, use the sales code FIX10, FIX10, to save 10% on your total purchase.
Follow gvartwork.com on Facebook, and remember, GV Art and Design, it's not just a shirt, it's a statement.
You're listening to The Sports Fix.
Just kick a little something for them cars that be bumping.
Yeah, but we need a beat that they can front to. Oh, that'll work. Be funky. You know what I'm saying? Cars ride with the human system. Cars ride with the human system. Funky. All the cars out there and all the brothers. I like the front they ride.
Welcome back to the Sports Fix Live across the Sports Fix Radio Network. J-Rock, Jerry Myers back with you guys as we roll on. Long opening segment to the show. That's all right. No problem with that at all. Talking a little bit of Tribe, and like I said, there's ridiculous statement of the day. They're still alive. It would take craziness on top of craziness on top of insanity for them to even have a chance at this point. But it is. There's my insane statement of the day. Welcome back, you guys. Phone lines not open. We're going to be joined in just a minute by John McMullen from the Sports Network, usually with us on Mondays. John with us here on Wednesday this week. A little bit of a scheduling conflict. Looking forward to talking to him in just a moment about the Browns at the bye and all the latest, his thoughts on the first 3 weeks of the NFL. But since the phones aren't open, you guys can keep the conversation rolling with me on Facebook, facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at the Sports Fix CLE, and make sure you follow us, by the way, and like us on Facebook. Nearly 21,000 already have over there at facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at the Sports Fix CLE. Email us thesportsfix@aol.com. Stay in touch with the show. As I said, John McMullen joining us just a few moments from now as I wait for him getting us back into. I'll tell you, it has begun in Minnesota, what some people, and I'm going to talk to John about this here in its reflection into Cleveland, because it has already begun here too. I read some articles this morning from some different, I don't know, some of them were, one was a newspaper here in the area, not the Plain Dealer, one of the suburb papers, and one of them was a blogger. But I've already seen a couple of the, Brian Hoyer did his best. It's time to put the young kid in. Hoyer did okay, but he's not a real quarterback, and he did a good job. I'm telling you, I read a couple of articles this morning that said, thanks for, you showed up. Thanks for showing up, but it's time to move on and put the kid in there. And I'm like, really? Like, man, I mean, you couldn't have had a much better start. I mean, I guess you could, but nobody had it predicted that way. That's for sure. I mean, if you'd have said, hey, what does Brian Hoyer got to do to keep his job? Listed out the stat line that he had, I think most people would have said, yeah, he doesn't have anything to worry about. But yet somehow a couple of people already needing bye-week writing material here found a reason to go, well, is it time to just move? Like, really? Really? Like I said the other day, unless Johnny Manziel can stop the run, play some defense, then we can talk about that. Other than that, the quarterback is not the problem with the Cleveland Browns. But I did see that Matt Castle on injured reserve, Teddy Bridgewater era officially underway, and of course that's just going to fuel that conversation with Blake Bortles, with Johnny Manziel, with all of that. People love to get in a tizzy about the rookie quarterbacks, but I think that's a ridiculous argument here in Cleveland at this point in time. I want to talk about that with John here and see his thoughts early on, 3 weeks in, about that and so much more. So let's do just that. Go into the phone lines now. Like I said, usually with us on Mondays, a midweek conversation with my man John McMullen from the Sports Network. John, how you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for being here, and I know the dilemma that is that. Well, you're a national writer, so you at least can skip one person's bye week and go on to the other. But you know about slow time writing and all of that, so I wonder how much credence you give to my theory that that's all that is. Of all the things that you could write about during the Browns at the bye here, I mean, to me, the quarterback position would not be. Not only would it not be where I'd start, but it wouldn't even be in my conversation. I'm curious, not just your thoughts of the Browns so far through 3 at their bye, but of that right there, of revisiting, I guess, the Hoyer-Manziel conversation after we've seen those first 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, you have to look at it. You have to take a step back, and you mentioned those rookie quarterbacks, and maybe that wasn't the narrative coming in, but it's certainly the one veteran of the so-called bridge quarterbacks that there's no question should be the starter moving forward is Brian Hoyer. So he's performed certainly better than most until there's some issue, as there has been with the fact that Chad Henne was just awful in Jacksonville. Oh. In Minnesota's case, you obviously have the injury. So until something pops up, you're not going to revisit your plan of going with the veteran quarterback who, through 3 games has a passer rating near 100 and hasn't thrown a pick. So I don't know how much more he could do to get this team over the hump. On the other hand, I understand some of the frustration of the fact that it's, this is professional football. This isn't pee-wee football. There's no moral victories. There's no excitement about being close to the Steelers or being close to the Ravens. The bottom line is you got to get wins, and it's a fan base that's been very, very frustrated over the years.
Well, I'm with you there. Now, but if that was not you, but if that was the leg you were going to go on to try to change quarterbacks, then that's definitely even more the wrong argument, because I don't think you could even go in that direction and say that had you had the other quarterback in there, of course we know who the other quarterback is, that they would have had better results than the guy that's in there did. I think that's the other thing. Even if Hoyer, had played mediocre, then at least that opens that door. But I mean, in all reality, to me, the fact that you can't pin the record on him, I mean, to me, that's the thing. I don't even care if you pin the record on him. He's 1-2. That's great. I don't care about that. No way Johnny Manziel wins either one of those games, in my opinion, or wins the one against the Saints. So, you can say you're getting ready for the future, but you're probably 0-3, and you probably have some more dysfunction offensively to go with the problems defensively.
No, I agree with you, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think they would be 0-3 if they went in the other direction, and they probably wouldn't have been close in the other two. So, I don't think there's any point. There's no doubt, and that's the reason Brian Hoyer started the season. We've talked about it constantly. Is the fact that Johnny Manziel's not ready to play an NFL football game yet, and part of it was the preparation aspect that we talked about ad nauseum in the preseason, and he's been playing catch up ever since, and I don't think he's caught up yet. So, the only reason I brought that up is the fact that with Hoyer, with Manziel, or without either, this probably doesn't project as a playoff team. So. I guess the only angle you could take if you wanted to push that narrative would be the fact that the future narrative and say you might as well get started on the future now as far as wasting a number of weeks. Me personally, I don't agree with that. I think this team is it would be a disservice to the veterans on that team. It would be a disservice to so many players, fighting each and every week to not put the best quarterback on the field, even if you want the other guy to start down the line.
Agreed. And the other thing that I'll back that up with is the fact that, we talked about this a little bit yesterday already, and Browns fans know what's coming up here for the next 5 weeks after the bye. You do have Pittsburgh mixed in, but other than them, you have, I've got the Pro Football Talk. I got their power rankings right here. 4 of the 5 last teams in a row here are the next 4 of the next 5 opponents for the Browns. The fact that you've got Tampa and Jacksonville and Oakland and Tennessee coming up in front of you here, to me, and that's the only thing, and I said the other day, Dan Wismar, who's coming on next, said the same thing. He put it in the best terms. With those being the 4 worst teams in the NFL, if you don't at least take 3 of those 4, let alone all 4 of them, then you are also one of them. You are also one of the worst teams in the NFL. So I'm very interested to see how they handle that stretch of 5 games before we can even talk about, whether you start looking to the future, whether you continue playing this season. You've got the X factor of Josh Gordon looming right after that stretch of games there. So it really, the course of this Brown season could go a lot of different directions over the next 6 weeks. When you want to look at the total plus side, you could say, hey, you got that stretch, then you get Gordon back before you get to the tough end of the season. Never know what could happen. Other side is you come stumbling out of the break, you lose to a few of these really bad teams, and now we're looking at another traditional Brown season that falls apart down the stretch. So the next 6 weeks are going to be key. Now, we talked about the quarterback, John, just at the bye in general through 3 games. I think the Browns pretty clearly are the opposite of what a lot of us talked about before the season. We put all that focus on the plus side of the defense and all these problems with the Browns offense. Offensively, through 3 games, Browns one of the better teams in the NFL. They've been pretty effective and efficient. They've scored some points, and they've done what they've had to do for the most part. Defensively, the complete opposite, as they've been gashed by the run, and they haven't been able to cover anybody, and in crunch time, big plays made against them down the stretch. Kind of a flip-flop of the way we saw things coming in.
Yeah, and I say this, constantly, throughout the country, because I see it from every fan base for every team. They kind of shake their head at their defense, and especially after a bad performance. And I just try to temper everyone. This is exactly what the NFL is now. It is hard to play defense in this league now. And there are times you are going to look extremely, extremely bad. I think as a whole, it's underperformed, as you mentioned, giving up 30 to Pittsburgh, you're 24 to New Orleans, 23. But I got news for you. If you're giving up 23, 24 points